This is gonna be very long. This is actually my third attempt at knitting. It's my third attempt at knitting this video. Yeah, perfect. I hope I like the final footage of this, because if not, I'm really doomed. Hi internet, it's Erica again. As you might have guessed from the title of this video, this one is gonna be a little bit different than the ones I've uploaded in my very long knitting podcasting career. Long story short, I was browsing through Ravelry looking for another style of pattern, and I got really hit with this idea and I couldn't get it out of my system, so I'm just making this little silly video. Disclaimer, of course, this is all in good fun. I mean, because of my job in branding and design, of course, I'm making mood boards almost every day. One of the things that I enjoy most about my job, so I thought it could be fun, you know? Of course, I'm not an internet historian, so I'm not gonna stay here and make a huge essay about what is brat and what is demure. There has been, of course, so many essays and articles about that, so I think I'll link the most interesting down below. How does this translate to this video in particular? What am I looking for when I'm making this selection? What constitutes a brat versus a demure knitting pattern? To me, in terms of brat, of course, I'm not necessarily talking about the very iconic bright green. To me, it's more about this you only live once, carefree attitude, something that is very bold, something that is show-stopping and just can't look away. Sometimes a little bit raw and a little bit naughty. More is more, just look at me, I'm so cool, intoxicating. In terms of demure, you know, quoting our queen, mindful. Sometimes it can be a little bit cutesy, but I would say it doesn't have to be. What I'm looking through, specifically browsing through Ravelry, are very tailored lines, small details or patterns, something that is very clean and polite, modest, and I think practical as well. So these are some just basic aspects of my research. I will be also focusing on patterns that surprised me because there were some unusual techniques or something that is quite fancy. I will also try to present you some patterns that are quite size inclusive and also from emerging smaller designers. I would be also looking at various different techniques and levels of difficulty. What I think the most interesting thing about this kind of video that I really enjoyed, made by other knitting podcasters that are much more professional than me, is I love discovering new designers and new techniques. So this is all in good fun and getting inspired. So in the spirit of this whole brat versus demure, I've selected 20 different knitting patterns, 10 for each categories. I do apologize, the sun is going down. I have my trusty iPad here with Ravelry and let's go through some patterns. I would be starting with the pattern that actually sparked this silly little idea in my brain. That would be the Manon jacket by Moreca Knits. When I was browsing through Ravelry, I saw this and I thought, you know, this is the most demure, mindful jacket I've ever seen. This is giving Chanel tweed suit, very proper, clean and tailored details of the double knitted bottom band and its little pocket flaps. It's also really nice in the boucle. Also, I think a huge thing about this pattern is also the hardware that you choose, because these tiny little golden buttons do really elevate it. But if you use something that are like a wooden toggles, also if you use larger buttons, you will get a very different look. If you are trying to lean towards more of the Chanel suit, gold or pearl buttons as well, or crystal, would look absolutely fabulous. Yeah, the sizing is not the best, but I think there is a lot of room for improvement for this designer. So let's just encourage them to do a little bit better. I will be going through garments first and then accessories. Another pattern that I would really love to highlight in this selection is a Darrowby vest. Cabled vest is a very proper, mindful, almost academia leaning type of garment. What I love about this is not only the size range, the fact that it can adapt to different body frames. And this is a type of garment that is gonna look very good on everyone. Depending on the materials you use, you could have it look very preppy, but also I think very cutesy if you use like a two-stranded mohair or a brushed alpaca. This one I think is gonna surprise you. But next I think in my selection is the sporty Shurg in the specific. This pattern comes both with the Shurg and the sweater. Bodycon 2x2 rib. The pattern includes charts for two different types of fit, you know. Are you more like broad-chested or broad-shouldered? It's gonna work either way. You can also add the tank top as well with this purchase and you will get 50% off. What would I put this in the demure category? I really like the idea of the Shurg. It reminds me a lot of ballet, posh, elegant sports. Adds a little bit of modesty. Even if you don't like the idea of the Shurg and you just do the pullover, clean, well-tailored 2x2 rib bodycon pullover is an incredible staple for anyone's wardrobe. Absolutely very, very chic and mindful. I really love the sporty set. I think I'm gonna knit this. Last garment in this selection is the Reine blouse by Savannah Gerlach. This one is more like cutesy, whimsical leaning area of demure. This pattern is named after our cottagecore OG influencer, Queen Marie Antoinette of France. And she used to wear this very puffy, light dresses when she was pretending to be like a milkmaid or something. This blouse is very beautiful and whimsical. You have this very round collar with ruffles and you have these puffy sleeves knit with light and dreamy mohair. This blouse can be interpreted as very feminine. I don't know, it reminds me a lot of those like 70s ruffled blouses that guys used to wear with bell-bottom jeans, so I think it actually more versatile than it seems, I think. The size range for this pattern is not the best, definitely, but in the Beret page for this pattern in particular, they expressed interest in expanding the size range and looking for testers. I think this is a very good step in the right direction. Let's hope we get a much more inclusive size pattern. I think we're done with garments and I really wanted to add some more accessories to this. First we have the CoCo clutch, and this is free bag clutch pattern that is inspired by those quilted Chanel bags. It's packed full with details like the I-cord woven through the chain. I think it's a very fun pattern if you like those type of accessories. Not only is very fun and cheeky, but also could be a really nice occasion to showcase some interesting hardware. You can find some incredibly beautiful buttons at the flea markets. And next we have the incredibly named Hottie. This is a necktie pattern, but the incredibly hilarious Qualyn Stark. Bow tie is an incredibly versatile accessories, both for masculine styles and the cutesy, coquettish aesthetic. So there can be so many possibilities for you to customize this very small accessory. I think one in like a neon pink mohair is gonna be really beautiful. I think this will also make a beautiful gift. Speaking of bow and ties, we have the Coquette Beret by Fran Lopez. And this is a beret pattern that has some like small details and a bow at the back. And this pattern comes also in different sizes, both for adults and kids and toddlers. You can match with your child or just be fabulous on your own. If you feel this is too frilly and cutesy, you can just skip the bow and the small ruffle on the back, and you get a very demure beret, which is also an awesome accessory that works with a variety of different styles and it can be worn by anyone. Next we have the Carina collar by Silvia Reginato, fellow Italian high. This one is a detachable collar pattern that is tied with a I-cord bow at the front, and you can also add some like ruffles, which you can knit both with wool or mohair depending on the look that you're going for. I think this is a very fun and cute addition to even a very simple outfit. I think the small bow at the front is absolutely adorable. Next we have the Argyle knee socks. Disclaimer, this pattern comes only in one size. And I'm not color work intarsia expert, but I think this is actually something that could be quite common, at least in my mind, since you have a pattern that has to repeat. So I think this is one of those types of pattern that you will have to play with gauge a little bit to get the right fit for you. And it's written that you also have calf shaping, so this one is a nice touch. And why would I put this in the demure category? Well, of course, knee-high socks I think are very preppy, but also a little bit cheeky. And of course, Argyle is one of those very classic design patterns that, depending on the type of color scheme that you use, it can lean very serious and academia, but also can be very fun and cutesy. This one with a pleated skirt or shorts and a loafer, perfect. Last but not least, we have the afternoon tea socks by Carlie Perrins, and this is a sock pattern. What's more demure than afternoon tea? What I love about this pattern, you have different options for the brim of the sock, so plain ribbed, or like a very cutesy ruffle. Depending on where you fall in the spectrum of demure cutesy, you can just knit a sock for you. We're done with demure. Let's move on to the brat patterns. So in the spirit of brat and breaking the rules, I would actually start with accessory and then move on to garments. The first one that I want to share with you is the Flambè Slouch Beanie by Lindsay Hutchinson. And this is a colorwork beanie pattern that features a flame design. I love the idea of like flames coming out of your head. I'm so hot and smart and cool that my head is on fire. Of course, you're free to do whatever you want, and the combinations are absolutely endless, but I think the brighter the color you're gonna choose, the cooler this one is gonna look. And also I think it makes a great gift and a quick knit, also to use some like scraps. Next, we're moving on to the Loop Stitch Balaclava by Svetlana Gibadulina. Hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. I thought this was hysterical and incredibly disruptive. This one is a balaclava that is knitted in like 2 strands in reverse stockinette and loop stitches. So it actually looks like something that is turned upside down with all the threads coming out of it. Looks very messy and undone, but I think in the coolest way possible. I find the look of this loop stitch to be incredibly interesting and cool and disruptive. I think would be perfect for destroying the patriarchy, but that's just my opinion. Next, we have a free pattern by Lee Meredith, and this is called the Pop Hat. This pattern was designed with a specific yarn in mind. It was, I think, part of the marketing campaign. I was really fascinated by this because this one is a beanie, but most of it is knitted sideways. The design idea behind it is take advantage and not mask the whole pooling tendency that hand-dyed yarn has. So you just work around this and make it a very big design statement instead of like alternate skeins trying to get a more like uniform look. I thought it was a very simple, but also, I don't want to say revolutionary. What I love about this, and I find it's very brat, is also this very go with the flow of this. I'm not necessarily sure what you're gonna end up with, but you know it's gonna be awesome. Probably the more obnoxious your skein of yarn is, the cooler the hat is gonna look. Oh yeah, this one. This one is probably the tamest of this selection over here, but I was really drawn to this nonetheless. And this is the Wiggly Shawl by Helena Wieser. And this is a bigger version of their Wiggly Scarf that has a few more projects on Ravelry. This one is a relatively, I think, new pattern. And this is a garter stitch scarf, but it's all like curved and wiggly. And even though I think it's very smart and this kind of like exaggerated wiggle, you just can't help but notice it and be amazed by its gorgeous voluptuous shape. Oh, this one I think is one of my favorites. It's a FU scarf by Sheena Pennell, and this scarf pattern uses a technique that I think is called illusion knitting, which actually I've never even seen or heard of. There are a lot of projects that use this whole technique, and it basically most of the time you're knitting, when you look at it flat, it looks like stripes. When you look at an angle, you see like an image or something. This one looks like a garter stitch striped scarf, but when you look at an angle, it's written, you know, FU. This one I think is hilarious, and I would say it would be great to go to work with this to get some like steam off, you know, when you have, you know, these things that you just can't say to your boss and stuff like that. You just wear this scarf and like, your day is gonna be better, surely. And what I also love about this is that there is a FU expansion pack, so you can make your own FU scarf. There are a few examples on Ravelry. F this, F off, F that, F cancer, F Brexit. You can make it as long as you want. And I don't know, if there is someone that has wronged you and you have the stamina to knit them a scarf, I don't know, probably it's gonna be a very petty gift. And I love that energy. I'm done with accessories, and then let's move on to garments. What I'm actually noticing is that parallel between the different garments that I'm suggesting in this category and the previous one as well. So here we have a sleeveless tank top or vest, whatever you might use it for. And this is a Curious top by Lydia Morrow. And this is a crop top. This has a very strategically positioned hole in the middle of the chest. It's not even, you know, a little bit cheeky. It's definitely like, look at this goodness over here, you know. And not only I think it's an incredibly fun and a bit naughty pattern, but also gender neutral and size inclusive, and offers a lot of options for bust shaping. So it looks awesome, and it's fun, and it's a conversation starter, but also is well done. Next we have a lot of these patterns from this designer could apply to this, and this would be the Pure Mesh Pullover by James and Watts. There is also, I think, a bundle of mesh knits, so you can actually look through all of the different options. I've knit Look at My Holes last year, and I chose this in particular because James here is modeling a majestic bright green sample of this one. I've said in the past that I love mesh knits, and I think they're incredibly versatile, but also they're quite sexy and scandalous. You can use it as layering piece over or under t-shirts or spaghetti straps. You can wear it over your underwear, or you can just wear it over your bare skin. And yeah, this is incredibly cool. I think the bouncer at Berghain is gonna let you in and probably ask you for one for themselves. Oh, this one is a doozy. This is the Fortuna's Wheel set. I think this is the most trippy, obnoxious set that you could ever knit for yourself and wear. and everyone is gonna look at you, everyone is gonna compliment you, and you're gonna be the coolest one, I don't know, on the face of the earth, probably. I would imagine this is gonna be quite labor intensive project. It's an all over color work set with long pants, but I don't know, I think once you knit and wear this out, you're not even beating the final boss, you are the final boss. It also comes in quite a big range of sizes, so everyone can knit one of these and be the coolest one on the face of the earth. If you don't feel like knitting the pullover or the trousers or both, there's also like a pillow cover. Moving on to the Panthera sweater by Darrowby, also known as Rosso Cardinale. Hi, fellow Italian again. This pattern features a very fierce panther at the front with these luscious flowers, and what I thought was really interesting is that it's in tarja and it's embroidery. I thought it was incredibly majestic and gorgeous and show-stopping and fierce. I'm not sure if I would ever have the skill to work this sweater up, but I would definitely love to wear this as a cat person. I can't find any projects on Ravelry for this one, and it was published on a magazine. Please let me know if anyone has knit this. As I can see from the details on Ravelry, it should fit bust sizes from 81 to 157 centimeters. And last but not least is a pattern that is not on Ravelry, but it's on Etsy. What I'm talking about is the sweater guide by Le Pen, and this is an instructional guide on how to make your very own made-to-measure scrappy sweater. According to the description as well as the comments, it provides both guidelines for yarn selection and various different silhouettes. And I really like the look of these types of garments. It does really play into the different textures. The more fun that you have, the cooler it's gonna look. Bonus points if you don't weave your ends in. What also I think you could add is hardware, rings, random buttons, also like not buttons that are like functional, but buttons as a decorative item. The possibilities are endless, and I think that is the brightest thing that you could do. Go with the flow, have fun, let all of the elements. So I think I'm done with this one. It's been a long journey. I've had a lot of fun putting this selection together. Let me know if you've enjoyed this, if you have any suggestions for the future, or even your own suggestions for brats or demure knitting patterns. If you want to see my take and interpretation on different trends and aesthetics. And I hope you'll see you again. Well, not see you again. I'm just looking at myself and listening back to me rambling. I don't know. I hope you're okay. I hope you're safe. And see you next time. Bye bye.